What are the richest countries that are hiring South Africans? Well, that's a question I've been asking, or there's definitely rich countries out there that are targeting South Africans because it's not possible that during a time you saw there's a war, people are fighting, then jiggy jiggy, there's a recruitment of people to fight in the war. There must be other countries that are doing the same, looking for specific maybe professionals or the general workers, but they are definitely hiring South Africans. So today, Kiona question here, what I'm gonna answer, and who knows, maybe you are looking for a job overseas, or maybe not even overseas, maybe just abroad, like around Africa, nowhere far. So first things first, you need to know is that being abroad or being overseas, it's an adventure on its own. Whether for professional development or personally, it is an adventure. So could be good on other days, could be better on other days, but in any case, being abroad, there's exposure to other cultures. There's rules that you have to learn about other people, about how they practice and how they live. So the first thing that you need to do that, or rather the first thing that you need to know that it's very important is that every job, before you even get an offering letter, never pay for it. That's the first thing. Yeah, that's what you tell this mark. Yeah, get to school. First thing, uh, never pay. Yeah, never pay for a job. Right? Number two, always verify. Huh? That's something I always say to every employer. Go to their official website, contact them. If there's numbers that the inquiry is there, check those phone numbers, call them, verify the employer. Number three, since you're going abroad or going overseas, you need to know the visa type. Because you could be going there for different visa types, and different countries have different expectations in terms of visas. So check the visa type. And number four, before going abroad, before taking a job anywhere, this is the fourth thing that you need to know while you're busy figuring out and thinking about the situation, or whether you want to work overseas or you want to work just across the border, is use official communications. So that means things like email. That is a professional use of communication. When they communicate and you communicate with them. Telephonic, having everything written down. Written communication. See, so that's the fourth thing that you need to know. When you're applying for a job, get a written confirmation that you did apply for this job. There's a written confirmation that you're invited to an interview. There's a written confirmation that this is the offer that they're giving you. These are the requirements that you need to meet: get a passport, get a visa, get a vaccine, all of that good stuff. But obviously, they're going to use professional communication methods. So those are the four things that you need to do before you even jump into the opportunity to work abroad. Is never pay for a job, always verify the employer, check what type of visa do they need when you are applying to work there, and lastly, use only official communication channels, especially written format, the email, so that it's easy. Next part, why would you want to have interest working abroad? It's because of these rich countries, and these rich countries demand certain types of skills that South Africans can offer, or our professionals and some of our hardworking members of the labor market. I think that I'm putting. So they have that interest in South Africans. Why? Because statistically it has been proven. Even local, there's a number of reports. I love it really because even PNet, one of the recruitment agencies or platforms, also reports on the same things. For the last decade, there's been an uphill trend of South Africans being hired abroad, and some of them actually moving, not just themselves, along with their families in that whole package. So it's countries like Europe, America, Australia, Asia, Germany, the UK, which are overseas. But if you're not comfortable with going to Europe, America, Asia, people like it's my yellow bone. then you can just go over the border. Work in your African countries, your Tanzania, your Botswana, what other countries there that's also here in Namibia. So you can work in such countries because these are always either hiring professionals or general workers, people who can either have a certified type of skill or just have a general skill, but they're willing to work for that type of work, like civil work, plumbing, healthcare, nursing. So it can be a range, not just in construction and mining only. So check which countries are hiring, because you may find all the job you're looking for is actually outside of the border. So apparently Saudi Arabia, the Saudis, in Saudi Arabia there's a 124% increase in adverts, and then in Holland, that's Europe, there's been 61% increase that are aimed specifically at South Africans. So 174, sorry, that's on my other line. 174 means that not only doubled, but it went 1.5 times or 1.75 times. So if there was one, it means that now there's 174 adverts out of just that one. So this one 61% means that just above a half. So meaning if there was one, means that there's now 6 adverts. Alright, 0.6 adverts out of that increase. That's plus. This is a plus. So meaning that even if they took out one advert or 2 adverts, there would be 3.2. So already there's that increase. That's what I want to show you in terms of percentages. It took me a little bit just to get it, but I hope that you're understanding that the positive percentages is an increase. So if they say 10% increase, means 10% of that plus the original, like interest in investments. Sure. Then let's have a look now. What if they give you that offer? What if you get that job? What if everything goes well, you get it, you pass the interviews, all goes well, right? What happens? You need to find out the visa type. After finding out the visa type, you need to find out if the visa is sponsored. After finding out if the visa is sponsored, you need to find out if there's other requirements. Support the visa. I'll tell you why in just a minute, why this could be an additional requirement on top of these visas. Because remember, in the whole world, not all countries see eye to eye the same as every other country. There's levels of entry, there's levels of visa, there's timelines. So what do I mean? Some countries issue a visa on arrival, some issue a visa prior to you making that application. So it means that visa application. So there's those two types of countries. So let's say you don't know what is a visa. Simple. A visa is something that goes with a passport, meaning that the first things first, you need to get yourself a passport. Then passport, you can then apply for a visa. Then from the visa, then depending on that country, then you just, if they need an application, then you need those supporting documents. They come there with you. Then you support that application, like an invitation letter or a letter from your employer proving that you're now working at that place, or you'll be starting to work at such and such a time, so that they can give you the appropriate visa. Okay? But certain countries are not happy with South Africans being there, especially when we want to do work, when we want to do business, and we want to essentially just partner with those countries and grow each other, learn from each other. So getting the right visa type will help you and protect your rights when you're outside of South Africa. Now, The last thing that you need to do is the laws and culture. Familiarize yourself with the laws and culture. What are they doing? What are the do's and don'ts? What is the law mainly made for? Like the South African law is from the Roman Dutch law, and then it builds and builds on top of other things. In other countries, you find it's more Muslim based. In other countries, you find it's more religious based. So do your research before you go to that country so that you familiarize yourself with their practices and how they socialize with each other. And then you do things that people will follow police and they get surprised. Like for example, in Dubai, apparently you cannot be taking videos and showing what's happening about the wars and the buses, and I think that's all I'm going to say. Hey, Dubai is a lovely place otherwise, but there's certain things you're not allowed to say, and you could get arrested and fined, but that's a story for another day. Now, let's say all goes well, and you do find out about all these laws, their practices, their banking system, their tax, how the tax affects you as a South African, and SARS. You do all of that, you prepare yourself. Now you have your ticket, you're about to go there. You're almost ready to go abroad. Now, there's a few things you need to know. Number one, never give up your passport. Your passport is yours. Never give it up, whether it's for police, maybe for identification and verification. That's it. Then after that, they hand it back over to you. And that, never hand it over like just no. It's your passport. It's better be kept safe at your place of residence than you handing it over to someone else, especially when you're abroad or overseas. And the next thing is that you need to keep in contact. Emergency contacts. So that could be the embassy. That could be the embassy. That could be the police. Just having contacts of anyone who's there. That could be your network. Maybe you have family and friends abroad. You need to have these emergency contacts because this is going to help you a lot, especially when you're abroad, when you're not familiar, when there's certain things you're not understanding. Because like for example, there's a country I went to. Excuse me. I only saw on arrival at the airport that they have a different first language than what I was expecting. I was expecting an airport to be English, but no. They changed it, so for me it was a bit unfamiliar, but with the some signs and things, you get used to it. And thank God for the smartphones and the apps and all that. Now it's easy to even translate when you're busy traveling around and one of the border sign you don't know what they mean, then you can just use these translation apps. But that's a story for another day. But I'm just informing you that never hand over your passport. Always have emergency numbers and contacts, letting them know where you are, especially when you are abroad. Otherwise, I wish you all the best when you're abroad. I hope God blesses you in everything that you do. Travel safe and stay safe.